Another resourcing technique I like to use with my clients is a nighttime safe, calm place exercise. And I find this is really helpful, especially if going to sleep is tricky, bad dreams are tricky, if a client needs some resource around that. And so I set this up just like our regular safe, calm place exercise. And if we think about that exercise, you'll find a bunch of different scripts, different places. But we want to think about it in the big picture on what's the goal of the exercise. And as long as you hit the main points, including the goal, you can do the exercise with your client however you want. Okay, and I often do them more as kind of a guided meditation. And so the overarching goal is to identify the resource and then to enhance it with the 5 different senses. Once the client's really in it and feeling it, we apply short sets of slow bilaterals to enhance it. We keep on enhancing it, doing those sets until it's as strong as it can be. We create a cue word for it. I like to add a 5th piece and to create an anchor, a physical anchor to it, which is technically a technique that comes from hypnosis. And so as long as we do that, we've created a nice, strong resource for our clients. And so I'll ask my client to think about a nice place that they could imagine before they're going to sleep. And I have a few for myself that I've created, so I always share these. And so I'm going to describe one of mine and tell you how I would use it with a client. And so the one I like to create is, so imagine we have a nice big pond, and the pond is only a few feet deep, and it's nice and clear in this place. There's no bugs, nothing that can get you. And the water is crystal, crystal clear, almost like a beautiful beach, but it's a pond, a very large one. And there is a nice wide pier or a dock coming out from it to the middle. And on that nice big pier and dock is a huge bed. Okay. Then I add onto the bed any of the nice things that someone might like. My cats might be on there, a nice cozy warm blanket. You see how I'm touching on all the different senses? And I might have my client describe it to me first and actually talk out what this place might be with them. So I'm laying on the bed and I can look out around me. And so we have our large pond, and then there's probably like a few dozen feet of just like short, like little kind of grassy area with maybe some flowers. And then around that is a ring of redwood trees, keeping this place nice and secure. And then when I look up at the sky, it's kind of like that dusky look to it, where it's dark, but maybe there's a little bit of purples and pinks in the sky. There's stars were out there. And then occasionally I see the aurora borealis go across the sky. Okay. And so I would then enhance that, right? So after me and my client have talked about it, I'll say, okay, if you're comfortable, close your eyes. And I've already prompted them that we're going to do sets of bilaterals, kind of slow tapping back and forth. And that I'll prompt them when to start and when to stop. And so these bilateral should be, a set of maybe 6 to 8. I remember one set, 1, 2, that's 1. So, or full back and forth. So I might do 6 to 8 passes. And I'm sorry, that's a pass, left and right, for it when I prompt the client. And when I prompt, I'm always going to say, okay, let's start tapping now. And then when it's time to stop, I'll say, okay, let's pause tapping now. And then I'm going to walk them through what they just described, right? Focusing on the different senses. Oh, also in my, the place you can add taste or sound. Sometimes vanilla or chamomile or chocolate can be a nice taste. Sounds might be crickets. If I like crickets, there can be some gentle music that someone likes. I also like to see in the water bioluminescence glowing occasionally, right? You can really create a cool place with your client. And so then I'm going to walk them through it, enhancing the different things that we've talked about, right? And eyes closed is usually really helpful for this. Now, some clients, though, especially if we have trauma or attachment challenges, things like that, understandably, closed eyes can actually feel a little scary. So always ask a client if they're okay with their eyes being closed. If not, they can keep their eyes open and just look off at a point, right? Maybe they can look at my screen and look at my flowers right here. And they can still do, the sets like that. So we're going to enhance it, right? So once we enhance it, then we're going to apply the sets, check in. What did you notice? We're looking to make sure it stays positive, okay? If anything charged comes up, we need to figure out what we have to do to change it. Like my place also has a force field, like in Star Trek, all around it, so nothing can get in, right? So sometimes we put these up for clients as well. And so we want to enhance it. We do the sets of bilaterals to get it as strong as it can be. And then we're going to put it with a cue word, right? So mine might be called Aurora Borealis. So I might have the person then, okay, think about your nighttime place. And I often just call it a nighttime place. I'm careful with using the word safe or calm. Depending on my client, I might shift those, okay? And so maybe my nighttime place is called Aurora Borealis. And so then I'd have me or the client, think about the place, think about those words. And then again, do some sets of bilaterals, slow, short sets to enhance it. Once it's enhanced, I like to pair it with an anchor. An anchor is any kind of physical touch. And so the one that I really like to do for this, I got from a training that I took by Daniel Siegel. And so I'm going to scoot back a little bit. So if you just right now, place one hand right here and the other hand right here. And this is what I tell my clients. I'm like, get a sense for how this feels. Take a few breaths. Notice how this feels. And then shift it. Do it the other way. Notice how this feels. Which way feels the best for you? For me, it's this way, with my right hand on top of my heart and this hand down here. So whatever the client chooses after I've connected or, we created the cue word, I'll have them bring up their place, the cue word, and then they're going to do the anchor. And then it's hard to tap if we're doing the anchor, right? So then I just have them move their feet left, right, to enhance it with the anchor and really connect it with the anchor. And that way, when they're going to bed at night and they're getting all ready, if they do this, it's actually going to bring up that place for them. And so one other thing I didn't mention that I like to add to it. And so specifically if the person's having nightmares, notice the theme for the nightmare. And I talk with my client about this. Notice if there's a theme, what have you, and see if you can put something into the safe, calm place that helps protect them from whatever theme's happening in the nightmare. Right? So if there's snakes chasing them, right, we put a force field around the whole place. No snakes can be present. And this is where you can be really creative. Okay? But yeah, nighttime safe, calm place can be really helpful to do with our clients.